What's up everyone, Akukami here and welcome to my StarCraft Monday where I showcase one of the games that I played on StarCraft 2 ladder. This is going to be a TVZ matchup on Star Station, and here I am spawning in the 8 o'clock position as the blue Terran player. Meanwhile, my opponent Spider-Man has spawned in the 2 o'clock position as the red Zerg player. After watching the replay, I decided to cast this game because it is a game of failure, at least on my end. And I basically tried to take a Wings of Liberty build from 2010, tried to apply the build order here in a in a Heart of the Swarm setting, failed miserably because I forgot the build order, let my macro slip and let my upgrades be out of order, and I ended up winning the game. So I'm not going to go into too much details of how the actual build is supposed to go, because I think a video of it would be more beneficial so that you can understand, but I'll get to that in a minute. In the meantime, let's take a look at my opponent's base. He is actually going for nothing at the moment, and here is, oh, I thought he was going to use that as Strone for his hatch, apparently not, and yeah, nothing going on at the moment. Meanwhile, back at my base, as you take a look right here, I do go for a 10 supply, 12 racks, 13 refinery. Going to go out with my scout as to take a look at my opponent's base. Finally decided to drop his spawning pool and will probably be coming out with a hatchery. Well, anyways, getting back to the build that I attempted to steal, it actually came from at least his YouTube account is BilzShouter. That's Blizz with one Z, and he does go by the gamer tag Crota. At least I know that's what I know in StarCraft 2. And props to him and putting up that video of that one build, because it was good enough that I actually remembered it. So I will leave a link in the description below so you can check out some of Crota's other wonderful content. He does post a lot of nice pro shoutcasts of StarCraft 2 as well as Warcraft 3. So go take a look at his content if you really want to. Meanwhile, back at my opponent's base, finally going for his gas, probably going to be going for that metabolic boost, as he does also drop his hatchery right here. And as my SCV comes into his base, I do see where he is located, and that's actually all I wanted to know. Just taking a look at if he went for gas and where his location is. Meanwhile, I decided to go with my tech lab first, forego that first marine, and actually come down with 2 racks right here. Now, like I said, this isn't the way this build is supposed to go, and you can check out Crota's video for how this build is supposed to go and just compare how badly I messed this build up. But anyways, the name of the build that I'm trying to steal is the DGAAE build, and that is basically the shortcut keys for units that you're going to produce from your racks and from your factory. D stands for Marauders, G stands for Ghost, the double A stands for 2 Marines, and the E stands for a Hellion. So basically this is a strong 1 base push using 3 racks, 2 racks with Tech Labs, and 1 racks with Reactor, and 1 factory that doesn't have any add-ons. Now the whole point of this build is to basically, at least if I remember correctly, is to basically just, like I said, push off 1 base, attack your opponent at about the 7 or 8 minute mark, and just basically, well, I hate to say it, but go all in because you leave yourself open to not being able to expand and be also getting counterattacked. And if your first wave of aggression doesn't work, you're probably not going to be able to follow up with a second successful wave, especially if your opponent does scout out what you're doing and decides to just build up his army in preparation for your aggression right here, and decides to go for roaches, which can really destroy this build in a flash. Now, one of the counters to this build is a really strong counter attack while all of your units are right here. And the other counter would be if you're not able to handle, or if you're able to handle what's going on right here, would be just to expand while your opponent is trying to attack you. So uh, this is actually the first time I've tried it in Heart of the Swarm, but in Wings of Liberty, every time I tried to use this build, I got counter-attacked with Mutalisk, so that's why I have my Engineering Bay up early, and I believe that's not the way you're supposed to go, but being counter-attacked a lot, decided to put my Engineering Bay up early. Now, the other thing that I failed to do here was actually go for Ghost. I actually forgot that I'm supposed to produce Ghost in this build, but to make up for that mistake, I produced that extra Marauder, and it does actually come in handy for me later on in the game. Now, what happened here was there was an engagement right here. I didn't get I didn't catch it fully, but basically my opponent was hiding some of his lings right here. Caught my combat shield-less Marines and my Marauders in transition over here. And fortunately for me, I had one Hellion come out and actually deal the rest of the damage, as my poor Marine gets surrounded and taken down. But my opponent does see that my army is right here, and he does notice that I am coming out with Hellions. And in response to the first wave of attacks that were coming, he decided to put down 2 Spine Crawlers, which is basically a natural reaction, as you do want to protect your base, of course. Now, back at my own base, I decided to put a reactor down in on my factory just so I can start producing. Actually had the thought of producing Widow Mines, but that thought went out the door. As we take a look at my opponent's natural, he does manage to kill off a good chunk of my army with his Banelings right here, as he did go for that Banelings nest. And also, like I was saying, one of the counters to the build is Mutalisk, and so that's why I have my Engineering Bay up early, just so I can deal with that when the time comes. And I did a few scans here just to check on what I could do, and I actually saw that that one Spine Crawler that I was picking on was really low on health, so I decided to take it out and just go walk into my opponent's main, and for some reason attack the Extractor instead of the drones that are right here, lose one of my Hellions because of my stupidity. But my second wave, or my next wave of reinforcements is coming in to, well, reinforce. And my opponent is actually trying to mine as best as he can, trying to do what he can against this aggression right here. He does have more lings out in play, some more speedlings out in play, as he does bottleneck his drones and makes a mistake right there. As my opponent is doing his best to try and get rid of this army right here, as he does come in with 2 Banelings, and he does take out my 2 Marines. This Queen finishes off this 1 Marauder and 1 Hellion. But as you can see right here, the next wave of reinforcements has arrived. Does take out these 2 Mutalisks that were here and this 1 Queen that was here. As we check right here, my reinforcements are hanging out, not doing anything, as my 1 Hero Marine makes it up into the base and is now shooting down the Banelings nest. Now, in response to Mutalisk, I do have turrets up, so I'm able to protect myself from any kind of Mutalisk harass, as my 1 lone Marine, my Hero Marine, dies valiantly trying to take down the Banelings nest on his own. Took out this 1 Spine Crawler that my opponent built right there, and just decided to walk back into his base and just continue doing damage. Meanwhile, taking a look at my base, I was actually supposed to hot swap this factory with this starport and start producing medevacs and at least a singular Hellion at a time. But it doesn't really matter at this point, because I am up in my opponent's base. He is moving all of his drones into this location right here, is preparing for another wave of attacks with some Banelings right here, as I do have my Marauders, which are now 0-1 upgraded with that +1 upgrade, attack upgrade. And oh, he does explode on my infantry with his Banelings, but I do have some units left, and it's not enough, as more reinforcements start coming into his base. And I finally managed to take out his spawning pool, start picking on his spire, take down this Queen that's trying to harass me, and just basically wreak havoc. I took down this 1 Queen right here, took down that 1 Spine Crawler right there, as my medevac arrives to start healing up my units, as I do go for this Banelings nest. as my opponent is forced to GG because he doesn't have any more bit of army left, and I destroyed his spawning pool and his Banelink's nest, and the Spire was the next one to go, and he didn't have any more units left, and that basically was game for him. Now, like I said, I messed up the build order really badly, so I'm just like I said, I'm just going to post a video to how the build is supposed to go. And if you're trying to use this build, I would probably recommend trying this out if you just want to have a little bit of fun. This is a very strong build, at least how I remember it when I was trying to pull it off, even in lower leagues, silver and gold. And it was a pretty nice build, and for those of you just wanting to try something new, something different, I do recommend trying this DGAAE build out. And if you have really good army control, this is probably a build that I would take a look at. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. This is My StarCraft Monday. I am Akukami, signing off.